Hey everyone, thanks for joining. This is our second installment of our Tech ZapChat. And we have a really awesome panel today. So just to introduce myself, my name is Althea. I am the technical recruiter here at Zappos. And we are going to be having a 30-minute Zap chat with various members of our tech department and also featuring our CTO, Brent Cromley, as well. So to kick things off, what I'll do is have everyone introduce ourselves and what we do here at Zappos, and then a piece of technology that, or an app that we can't live without. So I'll kick things off. As I said, I'm Althea. I'm the technical recruiter here at Zappos. And that I can't live without would be Spotify. I completely am obsessed with Spotify and making playlists to get me through the day. So Summer, I'll have you kick things off.
Great. So my name is Summer, and I am in tech and development. I started off in Java and am now a mobile developer. I've been here at Zappos for just a little bit over 4 years now, and the piece of technology I can't live without. So it sounds super cliche to say it, but I would have to say the internet. And that's just because it connects people better than anything did before. I am old enough to remember the days before the internet, and like keeping up with friends and stuff was always tough, But now it's friends are just a few clicks away, and if you're in a different country and you don't have cell service, you can keep up with family, let them know you're good, and so it would definitely be the internet.
Hi, my name's Rich. I work with Tech University. So we take care of some technical and also people skills for our tech audience. Coming up on about 3.5 years with the company. And the technology I can't live without would be allrecipes.com. I like to cook. I definitely like to eat. So there are probably many apps out there that do the same thing, but this is something for me that kind of helps me keep my recipes organized, and I can't live without it because I can't live without eating.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kim Leahy, and I work with Rich in TechU under the technology branch of Zappos. I've been with the company about 7 months, have about 25 years of experience in learning and development, along with leadership development. So the technology that I rely on most, especially now that I've been working at Zappos, is there's so much going on every moment of every day, and I have to have my Outlook. Otherwise, I'm lost. So Outlook is my hero these days.
Nice.
Cool. My name is Jeff Apps. I am Director of Engineering at Zappos, looking after the website, the back office systems, and also our customer service tools. The one piece of technology I can't live without is my snowboard. It's a Burton Blunt 159, and there is just nothing better than a day on the slopes to recover from a busy week and to get ready for the next one. So that's mine.
Hi everyone, my name is Dave. I'm a developer on the Android team here at Zappos. I've been here for just over a year now. Moved over from the website systems team several months ago now. One technology that I love is GitHub. I use it every day, and the collaboration that it affords is just fantastic. I think I could probably live without it, but it would be a painful existence.
Awesome.
Hey, I'm Brent Cromley. I'm the CTO of Zappos. I just had my 8-year anniversary, so I've been with Zappos for 8 years now. And seeing the team grow from originally 15 people to now we're over 300 all in with contractors and full-time people. As far as technology that I can't live without, I'd say there's a couple. One is Waze, which is a app that helps me get home and get to work and avoid the traffic. I get very frustrated sitting in traffic, so being able to avoid that and kind of take side routes makes me very happy and makes my life happy. I think another one is Slack is another great app that I use, and web app as well. It's great for communication, sort of keeping persistent threads going, and really great tool that I think Zappos is starting to use a lot more of now.
And my name is Aki, and I'm the head of mobile. I've been with Zappos for a little bit over 13 years. And little piece of technology I can't live without. Coming as the last person to kind of talk about like the piece of technology you can live without, it's always hard because you have to pick something that no one else has picked so far. But I have to say, Google Maps. I don't know how we were able to get around or find anything before there were like Google Maps. It's so crazy to think of a world where you don't have that. You know, like what do you do? Talk to people and ask for directions? It's crazy.
That is so true. Well, thanks everyone for giving a good intro, and yeah, I love all those technologies as well. So we'll kick off like the first question, and feel free, audience, if anyone's listening along live and hanging out with us, feel free to drop some Q&A questions in. We'll get to those at the end of our chat, but and then if you have other questions after, we're always able to answer them on Twitter, so feel free to chat them in. So this upcoming June, Zappos is going to be 16 years old. We've definitely helped define e-commerce, the state of it, and really blazed a trail, and now a lot of companies have followed in our footsteps. Looking towards the future and continuing to stay relevant, what are we doing to continue to differentiate ourselves in the e-commerce arena?
Yeah, I think so. If you look at sort of the state of e-commerce now, it's very similar across all the different sort of major players out there. You go to 10 websites, and they're all going to have the same basic functionality and look very similar, from search to product to checkout. And so, in my mind, it's become very sort of non-differentiated, all these different experiences. And so, Zappos, I think, in the early days did a lot to sort of push the envelope on what e-commerce and kind of sort of mobile shopping was all about, the internet shopping. But I think now we're kind of at a point where everybody is looking the same, and so if you want to differentiate yourself, you're going to have to actually build new experiences that are outside the core shopping area. So things that are much more appealing to the customer, things that actually sort of form a sort of emotional connection. If you think about going into a retail shopping experience and being able to touch the items and interact with the people in the store and the storekeepers, that experience still doesn't translate online. It's still very transactional and personal. And so I think the future of e-commerce is trying to take more of that emotional experience and bring it online. And I think Zappos, with just some of our heritage and roots, are well poised to actually do that. We actually are going through a big transition from a technology standpoint where, you know, we had a lot of our best engineers working on some of the core e-commerce pieces, the checkout, fraud rules, user registration, and so to get that at scale of our size took a lot of energy. And so the transformation we're doing now is trying to offload some of those back-end services to our parent company, Amazon, and spend a lot of our energy and our tech talent building some of these new experiences. And so we're just in the final stages of that transition. And so I think this year, 2015, is going to be an exciting year for us as we finish that and start to actually develop some of these new experiences that I think are going to set us apart again in e-commerce.
Awesome. And I know mobile is an area that we're starting to see a lot of our customers engage more and more on. It's not just shopping online on your laptop or PC. It's your mobile, your tablet. In terms of how are we continuing to engage our customer on the mobile experience, and maybe Aki, you can talk a little bit about currently what we're doing with our mobile team.
Yeah, sure. So at Zappos, I think, I've been very fortunate to be able to kind of work on different things. And one of the latest projects for me to work on is really like look at the mobile experience and developing mobile apps. And I'm not sure I really like as I go around and I have been given opportunities to talk to different companies and talk at different sort of forums where a lot of people kind of ask about, hey, how do you position yourselves? What sort of resources do you have? What sort of development do you do? It turns out that a lot of companies don't really have in-house teams that do the development of their own apps. Like a lot of people actually find like other companies that develop their apps because for multiple reasons. One is we know that it's challenging to kind of find talented people to kind of work on your apps in-house. Another one is that maybe some companies are not necessarily forward-thinking and doing a lot of investments in the mobile space just yet, which sounds crazy to us because we have been developing apps for quite a while. And so much so that we take some interesting bets. I mean, we developed an iPad app very early on, and then from then we developed an iOS team that developed iPad and iPhone apps, and then we started developing on the Android platform, and we also have a Windows app. So these are things that not too many companies necessarily give you the liberty to work on, and I mean it's really interesting and fun to kind of be able to sort of look into these technologies and be able to develop products that use all these technologies. So it's really fun and it's really cool. Of course, with that comes the challenge of as the technology keeps on changing, and iOS every year has like a new challenge. I mean, all you iOS developers are familiar with the fact that there's a new operating system every year. You have to worry about that. That keeps our challenge of trying to stay ahead of the curve a little bit more interesting. And but the good news is like we have a lot of people that are really interested in learning, and like one of them would be like Summer, for example, who was interested in kind of joining our mobile team. And the challenge for me was, I mean, that's great. Summer is very smart, and she can come into the mobile team. But how do I, help her kind of, get to the next level? How do we give her enough resources for her to, really keep up with all of the changes in iOS? And so what we did was we were able to kind of give her, a couple of opportunities to take a few classes. So, Summer, would you like to talk about this?
Yeah, I'd love to. So, yeah, I guess the thing is, I started here as an intern with Java. Didn't really have any mobile experience, and I was really looking to get into something new. And so, how do you kind of approach, like how do I approach Aki and say, hey, I don't do mobile development, but I want to be on your team. So, he was really great about it. The mobile team, the iOS team, found different resources for me to go ahead and start learning, and they took me on. The big one was this week-long boot camp at Big Nerd Ranch. We had to go to a completely different city, and we weren't allowed to do any work or anything. It was pretty much morning and pretty much the whole day, day and night, of just Objective-C programming, and yeah, that's how I got started. It hasn't ended there either. Swift came out shortly after, maybe a few months after that training, and then it was kind of, I guess, a repeat of another big boot camp training. This one was actually a little bit longer. But the mobile team actually brought Big Nerd Ranch in and had them here on campus, and so there were quite a few people who were able to go to that training. So yes, lots of learning.
Was there things, Summer, that you did that maybe Aki directed you to, like in your spare time? It sounds like they took you on after you were starting to make that transition. What did you do? I know that people, like developers that are looking to get into other areas, sometimes it's not as easy, and they don't have a supportive team where they will give them that direction. Were there things that you did on your own to kind of help that transition and help you grow into your role you're in now?
Yeah, so first of all, just to say, the Big Nerd Ranch training was actually super thorough. So that probably would have been good on its own, although I tend to like to play with things, do things on my own, figure things out, and just kind of come up with my own stuff on my own time. So I definitely had my own little side projects of oh gosh, just little things. They had their own little disasters here and there that was a constant learning. So yeah, I've always highly recommended this. It's changed my life when I've started doing my own side projects. So I definitely say do your own side projects. It doesn't necessarily have to go anywhere, but just do them. So.
Awesome. And David, who's on our Android side of development, tell us a little bit about your story of kind of how you got into it. I know obviously the Android apps are very popular, and there's a huge surge in users, and that's been growing rapidly as well. So tell us a little bit about that, and then you've been very involved in our hackathons too. I'd love to learn more about that.
Sure, thanks, Althea. Yeah, so my story is somewhat similar to Summer's in that I started off in another team here at Zappos and shifted over to mobile. I had been interested in Android development prior to that, and I had a little bit of experience at my previous job, but not enough to just step into the role. So I spent a bit of my own time, doing side projects and that sort of thing, like Summer. But yeah, Zappos does these things called hackathons where for 2 days or 2 or 3 days, 4 times a year, you can lock yourself into a room with a group of other people and work on something. It doesn't have to go anywhere, but there's been some really great ideas that have come out of these things. And because I was interested in Android, I decided to write Android apps. And some of the guys on the Android team noticed that, and we started a line of communication there, and the Android developers were able to provide me with some resources in the form of Coursera courses, which I went and examined on my own time, and yeah, just sort of built up the knowledge base that way, and moved over November last year, and it's been really fun since then. Been really enjoying it.
Nice. Yeah. And then you've been involved in some hackathons here at Zappos. And I think in the community as well. Tell me a little bit about kind of some of the hackathon projects that you've worked on, and kind of how that's been a benefit to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 2 forms of hackathons here at Zappos. One is the internal hackathon, where we build something that's going to be related to Zappos in some way. A new internal tool, perhaps, something for the website, or something else entirely. But we also run civic hackathons, where we try and build something that's going to be related to the community around Las Vegas, where we're based. So I was more excited to join those, I guess, because it has a lot more flexibility in what you can do. So I was involved in a couple of those. One of them was a pet meetup app, so kind of like social media for animals, where you go and you look on, it has a Google Maps overlay, and you find areas around the Las Vegas area where it might be a good place to take your dog or your other domestic animal, and go and hang out and meet other people who are doing the same sort of thing. So that was lots of fun. Yeah.
A social network for pets. I love it. I didn't know about that. I'm sure that's awesome, and people who are pet lovers probably love that app. That's awesome. Very cool. In terms of, that's a good segue into TechU. So Zappos has a really cool function here inside tech called TechU that lends itself to growing and learning and giving our people those tools to help them develop in what they're passionate about. And we have Rich and Kim here from TechU. that can give us a little bit more of some information on what is TechU and what are the different offerings that you guys provide for Zapponians here.
Thanks, Althea. Well, TechU is really kind of a learning brokerage. We've got a lot of our audience, the folks in tech, know about a lot of different learning opportunities. So we're going to go out and find some educational opportunities for folks, whether it's a boot camp or a MOOC or some sort of class. But we're also counting on people to help us crowdsource. And if they go and they find a different class on their own or some sort of meetup or anything that they can find that helps them learn and bring value to the business, we're building that into our system where folks can actually send that in and say, hey, this is what I learned. I give it 4 stars out of 5 because I bring this value back to the company. And by being able to rate all the courses or different types of educational opportunities that come in, not only the ones that we prescribe or we find from the company standpoint, but also that the users actually find on their own, we're finding a tremendous amount of value with that. And then just kind of springboarding off, both Brent and Aki mentioned about how the environment is changing. And we have to, as far as we're being flexible and adapting to take our company to the next level, part of that comes with our progression planning. So we're in the middle of a rather major project to make sure that all our progression plans for all the jobs within tech are lined up and that folks know where the next step is if they want to continue to move higher in one job family, so to speak, or if they want to go horizontally into a different job family, like a couple of the folks already spoke about how their kind of career path has been Zappos. But as far as what we've got cooking in the leadership development, more on the people skills, I'll defer to Kim on that.
Thank you, Rich. Yeah, there's so much going on in tech in terms of learning and development, and we have recently put together a 4-day workshop geared towards the leaders within tech to, just help them with the people side of the house and really managing their teams. And so some of the topics that we've focused on, we're very big on emotional intelligence, and we're working hard to build that as a foundational piece. We have coaching. We also partner with our HR team and make sure that there's a good bond there in terms of how to manage the people and help them with their careers in a positive way. We also have this thing called holacracy, and for people like myself that came in from a normal corporate kind of structure, learning about holacracy is a huge task, and then topple that with now you're managing people within this new environment. So we actually address that issue and try to help the leaders understand there's different rules and ways in which we're going to be working under the Zappos umbrella. And then we're very big on the career progression, as Rich was mentioning. So we have in-depth discussions and exercises around career mapping and helping people. I love Summer and David's story because it's just a testament to the way Zappos views learning and development, and especially on the tech side, there's so much going on, and we want to make sure that our people are motivated and happy. And so 2015 is a big year of more growth and development in terms of offering more opportunities and just really tying things together to the progression plan and having ongoing learning opportunities for everyone, regardless of what it is that they're trying to accomplish. We want to take care of them.
That's awesome. It's a really great benefit. And you mentioned, Zappos. Earlier on, we mentioned that Zappos was a part of the Amazon family, and we've been a part of them for 6 years coming up. And so being a part of the Amazon family has lent itself to a lot of benefits with this partnership. And what better person to talk about those partnerships? Jeff, would love to hear kind of why a lot of people are curious about what benefits Amazon gives us in terms of partnerships on technology, and then also the involvement with Amazon. That's a very common question of, you guys are an Amazon company now. What's the day-to-day like as well?
Sure, thanks, Althea. So Amazon, I think, gives us a lot of things, but there's 3 that come to mind for me. One is scale. The second one is efficiency, and the third one is innovation. So in terms of scale, Zappos is we're a much, much bigger company than we were when Amazon acquired us. And Amazon operates at just a massive scale in the retail space. So that's enabled us to scale. So one of the first areas that we used of Amazon was the fulfillment network of Amazon. So we transitioned from Zappos to Amazon. And that enabled us to go from a single warehouse, a massive warehouse, and now we're in multiple warehouses all over the country. So it just enables us to serve our customers much better without using extra resources. In terms of efficiency, Amazon has a number of services that very, very similar to the Zappos services. So Brent already mentioned fraud rules. So the Zappos fraud rules were awesome. And the Amazon fraud rules were awesome too. So we're like, we should just use theirs, which has two benefits. One is our engineers that really care about fraud rules, they have opportunities to go and work on the Amazon team, so they actually get better at what they're interested in. But it also enables us to free up resources so that our engineers can work in more innovative areas. And that's really interesting to us because Amazon, as a parent company, they have a huge appetite for innovation. And so as we use more and more of the Amazon services, we get to free up our engineering resources to focus on that. And I think that's really exciting for us here.
Awesome. Very cool. In terms of, do you feel like Amazon is more of like in the day-to-day operational side of things? Are we able to still run very independent? What's kind of the involvement been with Amazon now 6 years into it in terms of just kind of the day-to-day you see?
Yeah, well, I think day-to-day Amazon's been very hands-off. The choices we've made to use Amazon technology stacks, we've made them for scale and efficiency reasons. And to free our engineers to work on innovation. But there's benefits and costs to doing all these decisions. And if you use another team stack somewhere within Amazon, then you need to follow their rules. So in the cases where we've used an Amazon stack, we need to follow their rules. So that's a change. Doesn't mean it's a bad change, but there's been some changes there. But I think for the most part, we're free. We make our own technology decisions. We work at our own pace. We have our own development processes. So I think it's really been, we get all the good stuff we want from Amazon, but we get to all the good stuff that makes Zappos.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, we'll move into Q&A right now, and there's been some, obviously already some good questions kind of buzzing in the Q&A, so thanks for chiming in. One of them lends itself to that flexibility of working under Amazon, and also the flexibility of working just where you're able to thrive and work best. And so one of them was, like, what is the work from home policy for tech? Would love to know kind of more about that. Michael is asking that question.
Yeah, I can take that. It's a great question. I think one of the things that for Zappos that we really pride ourselves on is sort of the culture of the company and how sort of people are really engaged in promoting the culture and actively working to build it, because at Zappos, and Tony talks about this regularly, that if you get the culture right, everything else kind of falls into place. The customer service, the innovation, the rest of the company. So we spend a good amount of our time focused on that. We do things such as have Holiday Helper, where everybody in the company spends 10 hours of time working in the call center during kind of the peak holiday period, and that's just to kind of connect with the customers, to really sort of get together and kind of bond with other people, kind of going through this Holiday Helper experience. So from how that translates to a tech perspective, we really pride ourselves on having people being in the office regularly and kind of working next to each other, brainstorming, bouncing ideas off. We feel that really fosters the collaboration and builds the partnership amongst the team. That being said, we totally recognize that there's times where you really need to like focus and kind of go and just kind of focus on a particular problem or a particular thing that you're working on at that point in time. So people do take the time off and work from home, or not take time off, but work from home and really kind of crank through what they're focused on. But we don't have an official policy on that. It's more just as needed, people do that. And you know, like I said, we really do pride ourselves on having people in the office and kind of promoting and interacting with each other from a cultural perspective.
Yeah, I must say that the times I've worked from home, I actually miss my coworkers. It sounds pretty funny to say that, but other jobs, it's kind of nice that I've been able to work from home and it's a nice escape. But since being here at Zappos, it's kind of the opposite. I actually feel like I get more done and am more inspired when I come in to work. But definitely, we do encourage a heads down day every once in a while when you need to just get some work done. So cool, awesome. So second question is from Missy. This is an awesome question, kind of twofold. Do you have consumer insight research teams at Zappos? Or is that a different department? Does that fall under tech? And how much are the projects influenced by insights as well?
Yeah, that's another great question. I think I'm going to translate consumer insight research to be we have a user research team that sits in our product organization, and it's a relatively new group that we have at Zappos. It's been only in place for the last couple of years, and really the goal of that is to be sort of a forward-facing group that's always understanding our customer, understanding sort of what they emotionally respond to, and then helping drive sort of the entire product development process. To give you an example of how they really are integrated into that, like we just are going through a new kind of strategy alignment where we're actually focusing on what we call our best customer, and those are the customers that we know the brand and the experiences that we're building really resonate well and are people that we're going to spend a lot more energy focusing on. So that user research team did a lot of work to really understand the customer, understand how they behave, and understand how they are influenced by Zappos and how we can better interact with them. And so as we kind of go, as I mentioned, that sort of transformation we're making to focus on building new experiences, they're sort of leading the way in terms of putting a filter and helping drive a lot of the ideas that we're coming up with. So it's actually exciting for us to actually be able to get a lot of that insight before we actually go and build something, because we can already kind of run that by the customer, do some research, do some testing, and then only those ideas that we think are really going to be impactful for the customer actually go and spend cycles building them.
And I could probably add a little bit to that. Previously, before I became the head of mobile, I was leading the user experience group, which included the research team as well. And I mean, there's a lot of value that the research team can bring on. Not just, obviously, having a pulse or taking the pulse on the, how customers, what their expectations are, and what their, what sort of features resonates with them or not. But as we, there are different ways in which you can sort of talk to customers and put different, ideas that we're sort of forming, and through the process of, maybe just consult with the customer and say hey, is this a feature that you would be interested in? Not just that, very kind of high level, but also from the point of execution, you could present different mock-ups to customers and say, hey, would you how would you interact with this particular design or with this other design? And as you do that, it turns out that the cost of development is much lower. You don't have to actually spend a lot of time and develop a feature, and actually release it out and do A/B testing, which we do. We still do that, but we also, by kind of talking to the customers before even developing anything, you can go through multiple designs of a product and get to the point where what you are A/B testing is something that's a little bit vetted through a little better with more customer insights. So it does kind of help with the development cycle quite a bit, even before it hits development, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. It looks like Missy is firing away. She's got another awesome question. We talked about innovation, something that's really important at Zappos, especially right now this year. I think that that's definitely a hot topic with us. She is wondering what are ways in employees sharing their ideas to improve processes, services, and continue to make Zappos innovative. Um, and what avenues does the company provide for us to gather ideas?
Okay, that's a great question, and it's something that we're focused a lot on at the moment. So I think there's a couple of answers. One is we have an internal system that anyone in the company who has an idea for how we might operate better or a new service we might provide can submit their idea to. It's an online tool, and someone reviews those fairly regularly. Probably more importantly than that is we've recently allocated some of our senior engineering managers whose sole job at the moment is to think about how we create an environment at Zappos that allows for innovation. So he has no projects to do. This is his sort of baby, and I think that's a real sign that Zappos is really serious about being more innovative than we are today. The last piece that I just want to note is when moving towards a self-managed organization. Kim had mentioned a system called Holacracy previously. So we're going through a transition where the teams we create have complete autonomy to make their own decisions. So they're much smaller teams. They have a very clear purpose. They own certain systems and business processes in the company. They can change those systems. They don't need to ask their manager or their manager's manager for permission. They're allowed to, as a team, be like, we know a better way to make this work, and just do that. And we're trying to really, I guess, empower people to run with their ideas and to get rid of all the roadblocks of seeking permission to try something. So I guess on a number of fronts, we're really, I think we are innovative, and I think we're going to be a lot more innovative as we move forward.
Right, awesome. I think Alice is how they pronounce their name, but really great question about developing new tools that are going to help our customers choose the best fitting size for shoes and clothing. Like we were touching base earlier, Brent was saying, that touching and feeling and trying on stuff in the brick and mortar experience. How are we continuing to maybe develop some tools that translate that over to e-commerce?
Yeah, absolutely. So interestingly enough, back in 2010, I believe, we spent about a year doing research and trying to find ways in which we could improve the customer experience around size and fit. And it's a very challenging problem that it's still out there, and I think it's actually very exciting to sort of try to tackle, because I mean, even back in 2010, I talked to lots of companies that said that they had already solved the problem and they wanted to partner with us. But as I kind of as you really sit down and try to figure out how to solve that particular issue, you start finding out lots and lots of problems. One of them is that even though across different brands, and this is not specific to just shoes but also apparel, like you may all be familiar with this particular problem, that when you find, let's say, a size 8 in one particular brand, or even like a particular line of shoes from a brand, like that size 8 doesn't translate to another size 8 in a different brand. A small shirt may not necessarily be small in a different brand. So there's a lot of inconsistencies. And the interesting problem is that, at the core, the information that is available does not necessarily, is not consistent across. So that's problem number one. And problem number two is that just by getting measurements, that doesn't necessarily solve the issue of fit. The issue of fit is a little bit more it's more ambiguous than just actual measurements. Part of it is also like a perception that the customer has about how they want their items to fit them. So there's, the preference may affect whether you want an item to be loose or tight, or, so it's definitely a very challenging problem to try to solve, and I think this is a very exciting area to kind of try to invest some time and some energy and try to solve. I'm very excited to see what we are going to be able to do, given that again we've done quite a bit of research and we know some of these technologies that are out there, and I think hopefully in the near future we'll be looking into that some more.
Yeah, to jump on board with that, we've actually got a project in the works currently to build a tool that determines gait analysis for customers. So the idea is that a customer would take a video of themselves perhaps walking on a treadmill, and the software would analyze that and determine if that customer pronates or supinates or has a neutral stride in order to get a better fit for customers. So that's something that we're innovating in as well. That's in the works.
Awesome. Is that going to be mobile focused first, where they have a video that they report on their mobile phone, or is that still in the thought process of how that looks?
So I don't know too much about the project myself. I know that there is a video upload tool. I'm not sure if it's focused on mobile. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not focused on mobile right now. I think they were just starting with web, but I think they really wanted to open it up to mobile.
Yeah, very cool. And this being like a very general tech chat focus, in the future, I think what's really going to be great is to continue to introduce to everyone out there different focus teams. So I think in the future we'll definitely schedule a mobile hangout for people who are passionate about mobile and get into all things mobile, because I'm sure Summer, David, Aki, you guys could just talk forever about that, and same with learning and development and also on the dev side. So I think that this is going to kind of stem, and we'll have some different hangouts that are focused on different areas of Zappos Tech. But really great hangout with everyone today. I thought it was great. I'd love to wrap up with a rapid fire question, because I think that everyone loves a good rapid fire question. So, and this is a curveball. So I'll start with myself, and we'll go down the line. Oh, David first, because I think his battery's going to die. But David, a goal, resolution, a work-related resolution for 2015 at Zappos. Go.
Wow, okay. I guess really quickly, I have only just moved over to the mobile team, and I'm really excited to put out our next release, which would be my first release within the team, moving everything, updating everything for the latest release of the Android SDK, which is moving everything to Lollipop and the material design, new design paradigm that Google's been pushing and that our designers have been doing up designs for. So yeah, really excited to see that coming out shortly.
Awesome. Aki, 2015 goal, resolution.
Oh my gosh. Within tech, I think just continue to work within the different teams, and also like continue to build a bridge between us and Amazon. Like there's a lot of interesting teams at Amazon, and not just Amazon proper, but other subsidiaries that are part of Amazon. We're a really big part of this really big family of companies that have tons of experience, and if we add all of the all the different sort of projects that we have worked on or we have going, there's so much we can learn from each other, and so I would love to continue to create those sort of connections with all of these different companies and explore what's possible.
Awesome. Brent, how about you?
Yeah, I think when people think of Zappos, they think of Zappos as a very customer-focused company, sort of always great culture, great customer service. And I think for my resolution, one of them is to actually have our us be known as a great technology company as well that's building a lot that once again is kind of pushing the envelope for innovation. So that's kind of my goal and something that I'm going to be focused on a lot in 2015.
Nice. Jeff, how about you?
I'm going to start by losing the 10 pounds I've put on from all the free food here. I think this year for me is about really connecting with my teams on a much deeper level. So that's my resolution for this year, is to really, I guess, know everyone at a much deeper level and maybe take my laptop meetings less so I can connect with them.
Awesome. Kim, how about you?
Well, I know I would second some of what Jeff was saying, it being still fairly new. I'm not quite a full year. Really connecting with people in tech and understanding what their needs are so we can really grow and develop, you know, some awesome learning plans. And personally, I'd like to develop some new classes and coursework that would help fill any niches. And looking forward to also building out an LMS with learning plans, both tech and you know, soft skills learning for everyone in tech. So lots to do this year.
Yeah. Rich, how about you?
Well, just to kind of follow on to what Kim had to say, and also what Brent said about being a benchmark or being known for being a top of the line tech organization. Having a good being known outside is one thing, but I want us to be known inside as a good resource and kind of a benchmark organization for providing learning and development for our people. Care and feeding of our people is really important.
Awesome. Summer?
So I'm not sure I really want to broadcast this, but the Android team actually has more developers than the iOS team, and so I've kind of had this personal goal of trying to keep up with them when they were coming out with new features for SuperCloud, just trying to make sure that we were staying on right with them. So, David, now that you know, it's on.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, awesome. And I guess I'll wrap things up. I think my resolution is to continue to be able to tell stories of Zappos as an amazing tech organization, and hopefully this was a great start. I think there's so many talented and amazing people and amazing things that we're doing here that we can continue to share with everyone outside. So with that, thank you so much. It's been great hanging out with you guys. And for anyone who is watching this not live or didn't get a question answered, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter at Inside Zappos or any of our social media channels at #InsideZappos. And we'll be happy to answer questions. And can't wait to hang out with you guys again. And have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Yep.